Hey guys, this is Jonathan with Appalachian Devotion. Thank you all for tuning in for a special reading of Adventure Bible for Toddlers. My children and I, we read this every night, and they thought it'd be a good idea for me to share it with y'all. So we'll just get right into it. The adventure begins. Once there was just a big black space. Then God created light. It lit up the darkness. He made bubbling water and land bursting with plants and trees. God whirled the sun and moon into space. He put stars in the sky. In the sea, God made fish and all kinds of creatures. In the sky, he made birds and butterflies. What fun God had making animals of every kind. Then God made Adam and Eve, the very first man and woman. After that, he rested. God's world was ready for an adventure. We got Noah's Ark. Noah was on a big boat with his family and lots of animals. It was noisy. So many squawks and oinks, woofs and moos and baas and roars. It had been raining for a long time. Outside there was nothing but water. Noah couldn't wait to walk on land and see horses gallop across the fields. Monkeys leap from the tree to tree, and turtles crawl through the grass. Still, Noah was grateful. Thank you, God, he said, for keeping us safe from the storm outside. Noah knew when God was ready, the rain would stop and a new adventure would begin. So there's Noah on the ark there. The animals running around. Moses' many adventures. The princess heard a baby crying. She saw a basket bobbing in the river. Inside was a baby boy. The princess gently picked him up. I'll take care of you and raise you as my son, she told him. Your name will be Moses. There's little Moses right there. When Moses grew up, God asked him to be a leader. God's people were slaves and he wanted them to be free. Moses led them through the desert and the Red Sea. Then Moses climbed to the top of a mountain. God told Moses how he wanted his people to live and wrote his rules on 2 stone tablets. Moses' life was full of adventure. So there's Moses. And this is one of our favorite stories. Boy versus Giant, the story of David. A boy named David and a giant named Goliath faced each other, ready for battle. Everyone watched. The boy was no match for the giant. David was very brave. I came before you in the name of the Lord. He will help me fight you, shouted David. There's David up against the giant. The boy pulled a stone from his bag and loaded his slingshot. He let the stone go flying into the air. The stone hit the giant on his forehead. He tumbled to the ground, and David's army cheered. The battle was over, all because the boy trusted God. And there's David in the background with his slingshot. And there's Goliath with the stone on his forehead. And this is also one of our favorite stories. Drooling Lions, the story of Daniel. The lions were all around Daniel. They were getting closer and closer. The king had put Daniel in the lion's den because Daniel loved God. Daniel fell to his knees to pray. Lord, I know you are with me. I trust you. And there's Daniel in with the lions. When Daniel opened his eyes, he saw an angel. Daniel knew he was safe. The Lord has saved me from the lions, he shouted. The king let Daniel go. Now the king knew Daniel prayed to the one true God. Fish food. This is the story of Jonah. God told Jonah to go to a city called Nineveh and help the people do what was right. Instead, Jonah got on a ship and went the other way. there was a storm. Jonah was thrown into the water. A huge fish opened his mouth and swallowed him up. Now Jonah was in the fish's belly. There's Jonah inside the fish's belly, full of all the things the fish ate that day. Jonah prayed to God for 3 days. He told God he was so sorry for disobeying him. Suddenly the fish coughed Jonah out, right onto solid ground. Jonah got up and wiped himself off. God told Jonah to go to Nineveh again. This time Jonah obeyed right out of the fish's mouth on the way to Nineveh. Jesus is born. Mary rode a donkey into Bethlehem. Very soon she would have a baby and she needed a place to stay. But all the inns were full. Finally, a man said, "You can stay in my stable. It's warm and dry." And there they just arrived. In the stable, Mary lay down on the bed of straw. There, baby Jesus was born. And Mary and Joseph looked at their precious baby boy. "Hello, Jesus," Mary whispered. "Hello, Jesus," Mary whispered. "You are God's son." Right there is baby Jesus. Jesus is baptized. John the Baptist stood in the middle of the river. He was baptizing people. When he looked up, he saw his cousin Jesus. John shook his head. "I need to be baptized by you, Jesus. Why do you come to me?" "It is right for us to do this," Jesus replied. There's John and Jesus waiting. John baptized Jesus, just like the others. As soon as Jesus came out of the water, the skies opened up. A dove appeared over his head, and a voice from heaven said, "This is my son, and I love him. I am very happy with him." There's Jesus getting dumped. The dove appearing. Jesus and the children. A group of children were playing while Jesus rested nearby. Oh, how Jesus loved children. Their mothers called to them, "Come, let's talk to Jesus." But Jesus' helpers said, "Don't bother Jesus, he's too busy." "Let the children come to me," Jesus told his helpers. "Don't keep them away." The children ran to Jesus, laughing and giggling. Jesus lifted them onto his lap and gave them hugs. There's Jesus with the children. The adventure continues. Jesus had many adventures. Once he was out on a boat with his helpers in a bad storm. He told the storm to stop, and it did. He made many sick well, and these were just some of the adventures Jesus had been on. That's them with him with the storm, and then on the other page there, healing the sick, and even bringing those whom he healed back to life. Good stuff. People loved to listen to Jesus. He told wonderful stories. He taught them all about God's love. The adventure wasn't over when Jesus went to heaven. The most important thing has yet to happen. Jesus is coming back. So there we go. The end. Well, thank you all again, like I said, for tuning in. This was sort of a one-off. The kids wanted me to take some time and read this to you also. I'm in the middle of finishing up the second part of our Romans message. I hope to have it completed in the next week or so. So if I don't talk to you before now and then, before Thanksgiving, hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving. And I'll talk to you soon.